good morning, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Class, professor, please excuse my room, it's kind of dirty. Today I'm doing my presentation on the Comanche Indians of Texas, specifically in really the 1800s. And so the Comanches did migrate down from Wyoming, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm just really focusing on their presence in Texas. And so the Comanches were plain Indians, and they lived alongside the Caddo, which are Northeast Indians, the Jumano, who are Pueblo Indians, the Apache, who are also plain Indians and their biggest rivals, and the Karankawa Indians, who are coastal Indians that lived along Galveston. And their population was estimated between 7 to 30,000. But when the Spaniards arrived, they brought diseases such as smallpox and whatnot, and their numbers just dwindled down in population because they didn't have any medicine or whatnot, and they didn't know what this, new disease was. Their current population is 17,000, and their geographical locations are mainly Texas, Oklahoma, and New Mexico. And for their culture, they were nomadic people. Buffalo was the heart of everything they did. They used buffalo for food, for shelter, for clothing. Like, buffalo was very essential to life for the Comanches. But even more important than buffalo were horses, because horses were their way of catching the buffalo, their way of herding buffalo, getting around, because they were nomadic people. They didn't stay in one place often. So buffalo and horses were their bread and butter. They had a mostly meat diet. They also ate like nuts and fruits and etc., which they obtained by trading. And they were very skilled traders because they just had so many resources. They were able to get so many resources. They were a formidable force in Texas, and they were very aggressive, often causing people to form alliances with them. And they were so powerful because of their nature and just their ability to get everywhere. And there's going to be two links. One is a letter from Sam Houston to the Comanche, and one's a letter from Lamar, the president after Sam Houston, regarding the Comanche. So Sam Houston was aware of the Comanche strength, and he every time, he would try to make an alliance with them and be peaceful and just really show respect to the Comanche, because he understood their power, and he also grew up alongside Indians. And in regards to Lamar, he was anti-Indians. He was, as soon as he could get rid of them, he would try to, because he knew they were a dangerous, formidable force, and they were known for being aggressive and attacking and giving what they wanted. So that was kind of their culture. They were a very dominant civilization. And they were organized into many different bands and kinships. They didn't really have like one big unified group. So that's what also made it hard for them to negotiate with other people, because you can negotiate one kinship, one band, and that wouldn't fall in for the other one. They were patrilineal, so father-based, and their democratic principle was kind of implanted in their democratic principle was strongly implanted in Comanche political organization. Each division had both civil or peace chiefs and war chiefs, but traditionally the head chief was the most influential, and that was for each different kinship, if that makes sense. And below I will also add a link to a ebook, and Doc 1 specifically talks about this, as well as the oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Boom, I know I was going. Gender roles between men and women. So men, they were in patrilineal, so the men would go out and kill and, get the animals, fight, and whatnot. And while the women were kind of back, the women went about they also did a lot of hard work. They cooked, they cleaned, they made sure everything was basically right, but they were working full-time just as the men were, just not doing, the gruesome, violent stuff. And for their religion, the Comanche religion was heavily based on animism, which is kind of the thought that everything has its own spirit, like plants, trees, waters, mountains, etc. And so, like I said, they were a very aggressive tribe. So a lot of researchers actually believe that they were so aggressive because they really believed that they had these spirits on their sides at all times, so they could just lay their life out on the line. And for what languages they spoke, the Comanche language is derived from, excuse my language, the Aztecan linguistic family, if I pronounced that right. And basically, it's pretty identical to the language of the northern Shoshones. And so that doesn't ring a bell for us, but I put a link below of a guy trying to teach the language of Shoshone. And it's actually pretty interesting. I tried to learn it, I couldn't, not very redundant. But for my discussion, I would like to know, so the Indians and the Europeans, I'll just add my discussion question.